Hi, I'm Lyle Stevick, and this is the last video in the series on making a 3D printed hand drum. This video is on how to decorate the drum with two-part epoxy and glitter. And as you can see, I'm starting out by taking the paracord rope off of the drum. This is 550 paracord that you can get at pretty much any sporting goods store. Also, there's a great site on Amazon, paracord.com. And also, I should mention that the eye bolts and the coupling nuts are also available on Amazon. Now, a coupling nut is what most people use on drums. It's about 3 times deeper than a normal nut. And you can see here that I'm mixing the two-part epoxy, also available on Amazon, and then I've got a set of glitter that is about 30 different types of glitter, each one in a separate little jar. You can see those on the table there. And all of that is also pretty inexpensive and available on Amazon. Now, I like to wait until I have several things to epoxy, because once the epoxy dries, you have to throw out the brush that you use for it and anything else that you've used for it. Now, to put the glitter on, I'm using a spice jar, an empty spice jar that has one of those little shaker tops, and that works great for glitter. So for each drum, I fill the spice jar with whatever color that I want for that drum. This one has a lot of silver and blue in it, I believe, and then the next one has a lot of gold in it. So now this one is, the body has 2 parts, like the one in the video that I'm showing you, and the flange, the bolt flange, is a part of the bottom part of the drum body. When you mix this 2-part epoxy, they have all kinds of warnings about bubbles. Keep in mind, that's for when you make a solid object, like let's say put a flower inside of a thing of epoxy. That doesn't really apply to brushing it on. So you can stir this pretty vigorously and not worry about bubbles. Now, I put 2 coats of epoxy on this, and the reason is that encases the glitter. So right after putting the first coat of epoxy on, I put the glitter on, and it sticks to the epoxy, kind of like the flakes that people use in garage floor epoxy. It's the same principle. Now this one I used a lot of gold on, and in fact I kind of put too much glitter on this one. I was just having a lot of fun. And one of the things to remember with this is, once it goes on, it's on. It doesn't come back off. Now here I'm adding some white pigment. So I have basically 2 colors, clear and white. The clear turns out glossy black because the polycarbonate is black. And this one I mixed a lot of white pigment into it, and I kind of like the way it came out. You'll notice also I mixed it up the way I wrapped the rope on this drum. I wrapped it way differently, and how you wrap the rope is kind of just play it by ear, whatever looks good, And this particular drum is actually, this body here is a 3-piece. The bolt flange is a separate piece, and it's all actually glued together. And I've moved away from doing it like that. I've moved towards making the bolt flange part of the bottom of the drum. Between that and making the ring with vertical holes, that was my 2 big reasons for making a new new set of drums. Now here you can see I'm re-drilling the holes, because that just it makes the rope go through a lot easier. And here I'm putting on the second coat. You can see how sparkly the glitter becomes when I do that. It gives it kind of a wet look. Also, one of the things I've learned with the two-part epoxy is that the flower vases don't hold water until you epoxy them. And in a way, that's a good thing, because it means that there's just a lot of really good anchorage for the epoxy. It has a surface that's porous enough that it won't hold water without the epoxy. And I've never had epoxy come off of my drums. So it has a really good adhesion, this two-part epoxy. I can't speak for other filament types, because I've only experimented with this on the carbon fiber polycarbonate. And I can tell you for sure that almost nothing sticks to nylon. So keep those in mind if you are experimenting with different, filament types. Oh, and this is a fourth drum that I had kind of sitting around waiting to be finished, and so I used some white and some red glitter on this one. Now here's the finished drums, and this particular decorating project was actually for Christmas presents. So all three of these drums got sent off to relatives for Christmas, and you won't see these in my videos. However, the one in the middle, I made another copy of because I just love the sound of that drum. I hope you've enjoyed these videos, and I know I've learned a lot making them. I was new to OBS, and I've learned a lot. And I really hope you've enjoyed these, and that you can put up with someone who's kind of just learning how to do a lot of this stuff.